Hi everyone, it's Nick, and I'm back today with another psychology coaching video for traders. And today I'm going to be going over how to deal with a big losing day. This isn't a very fun topic, it's not very fancy, it's not very stylish or flashy to talk about how to cope with a day where you lose a lot more than you wanted to, but it's going to happen. And even traders who have really clear set maximum daily losses, well, when they hit them, that's a big red day for them. And if you don't and things spiral out of control, well, you could have an even bigger red day. They're going to happen. They happen to all of us. These videos I create come from my own experience, and surprise, surprise, recently I actually had a very big red day. And it sucks. It does. But you can use the information you gather on that day to actually become better in the future. And in this video, I'm really going to be talking a lot more about that and give you a guide as to how to really use these days to perform better in the future. Now, the first thing I actually suggest to all of my clients and anybody out there is whether you feel upset, whether you feel angry or confused, whether you've got that sort of, oh my God, I can't believe what just happened, I don't even want to look at it, whatever it is, you will not be able to think clearly when that emotion is high. It's been proven that the more emotional we become, we lose more and more access to the part of our brain that allows you to think logically. If you've ever got super, super angry and you just get that sort of seeing red where you can't think, you've hit the peak of it. And even if you only feel like you're 65, 70% emotionally, like, no, I can, don't. Like, just stop there. You physically don't have the capability to think clearly. If you try and review, you're not going to be able to actually achieve much from it. So the first thing I suggest is to go and do something positive. A lot of people will go and work out. It doesn't have to be physical, but you want to do something that after it you feel like you've achieved something. You feel like you're a success again. Let that emotion kind of ebb away and you're now in a productive mindset. So, like I said, some sort of physical workout. It could be rearranging something that you've been meaning to do in your apartment. It could be going running an errand, buying groceries, whatever it may be. Do something that takes your mind off of trading, off of what's just happened, and be successful. A big thing that I see a lot of people do is they try to ignore the pain, just forget the loss. They kind of go through this like, oh, that was a bad day. We'll just forget about it and we're back on it tomorrow. The best thing I can do now is not let the loss affect me. That is a really unhealthy way to look at it. Emotion is part of being human. We cannot get rid of it. We can try to ignore it, but I'm sure that every single one of you who has tried to ignore emotion at some point in their life has realized later on that it just comes out in a much worse way. And when that happens with trading, that means you're making bigger mistakes, probably taking bigger losses, and it's going to snowball into something very, very ugly. It's normal to feel these things, and instead you need to work through it, and then go through a process that will help you understand what you did wrong, why you did wrong, and then the emotion will start to kind of drain away a little bit. Now, it's really important to have a process, which is what this video is all about. But what I'd encourage you to do is after this video, write out a bullet point plan that actually tells you what to do when you have a big red day. A lot of people will be like, stop, don't trade. Forget about that. Have a process that will help you use the day productively. You're going to be at your most fragile when you've had a big red day. You're going to feel bad. I feel bad. Everyone feels bad when they lose money. Of course we do. And when that peaks, often you're going to need something already written down to help you moving forward. Like I said, when you're very emotional, you can't really think logically. Well, coming up with a plan on the fly isn't going to be very successful. So you need something there written out so you don't have to think, you can just do. Make it easy for yourself, and you need to just prepare. Just prepare for the days because they're going to happen. It's easy to prepare for a big red day when you've just had a good green day. right? Because you can go, okay, if I have a big red day, this is what I'm going to do. You're going to come at it from the right mindset. And when you're reading back through these um, bullet points as what to do, they're going to be much more beneficial. Now, how do you start your review? So you've got a plan written out from a previous day. You've gone and worked out, or you've gone and made yourself feel successful and motivated again. Now we're on to actually reviewing the trades. And the first thing, you should be journaling every single day and every single trade, not just the good days and not just the bad days. I think a really good habit to get into is journaling everything so that you can look back at a bad day and compare it to a good day. You can look at a set of bad trades where you took a lot of losses, compare them to a set of good trades and see if there are differences. If you just look at the bad days, you're not going to have anything to really stack it up against. You're not going to have a baseline to really look back on. Really refrain from these kind of phrases. And I'm going to put these in because a number of my students have said these. And I'm sure when they watch, they'll recognize these. This isn't my setup, so I can't learn from it. I know this was a dumb mistake, I just won't make it again. Let's draw a line under today and get back at it tomorrow. Now, the problem with each of these is that if the mistakes were easy to not make again, you wouldn't have made them in the first place. The fact that you know it's a mistake probably means you've made it in the past, and therefore it's a pattern. Just because something isn't your setup doesn't mean that you can't learn something about yourself from it. Every single trade you take, you can learn from. And if you use these are just excuses to not look at yourself to become better. It's being very closed-minded, and it's not going to benefit you. These destroy the best opportunities you have to find a serious weakness in your trading. If you never journal these bad days, the bad trades, you will never learn what it is about your personal performance, which is normally the cause of a big red day, what it is about your personal performance that made you screw up. And that means you're just going to repeat it. And the likelihood of you repeating those errors is significantly higher if you don't know what they are. If you touch something and you touch something that's hot and you burn yourself, you're going to go, I'm not going to do that again. But if you touch it and you get burnt, but you don't go, oh, it's because I touched it. You just went, oh, I got burnt. I'll just ignore that and try and forget about it. You'll touch it again and again and again. Fortunately, we can't actually physically not remember we didn't touch something, but that's what you're trying to do here. You're cutting out that memory of I just touched something and now I've burnt my hand. So when you are reviewing your trades, the two things you need to be thinking about are, was this my edge that caused me to take a loss or my performance? And it's critical that you get this right. Put frankly, did you fuck up or was your edge just not making money today? I've had both. I'm sure most people out there have had both. Sometimes the day is just set up in a way that is bad for your edge and you don't see it until you're halfway through the day and you go, you know what, today might not be the best day for my type of trading. But then sometimes, and I'll be honest, often, it's more like you made one mistake and then you got annoyed at yourself, so you made another mistake and another mistake trying to make it right. So you need to go back, first of all, go back over the charts that you traded without your trades and try to work out, and it's really good to have that break, have that period where you work out, you go and do something, because then you come back with slightly fresher eyes and you can say, okay, what was the outcome of my edge? Right? If you were back testing today's charts, what would you actually get? And it may well be that you go, you know what, I should have lost 4R today and I lost 5R. So there was probably a mistake in there, but I've only made 1 R's worth of mistake. Compare to your trades, see what the difference is. And it's crucial at this point that if the mistakes were you. You need to work on you. You need to work on your performance. If the losses were down to your edge, then you need to potentially work on your edge. We're going to go through why you don't always need to do that. Do not get these mixed up. I cannot stress this enough. The number of times a trader will look through their trades and will just go, oh, this didn't work here because of this. They completely ignore their own performance and they look straight to the edge. And then as a result, they go, okay, cool. I lost money today, that's fine. I'm going to go back and I'm going to look over charts and I'm going to try to improve my edge. I'm going to try to come up with some new rules that will mean I don't take these trades again based off of my edge. That isn't going to help. You made the mistake because of something in your performance. You've got a internal weakness, a thought process which has triggered you to make a bad trade. That's still there. That's what you're going to need to work on. And just the same, if the losses are due to the edge, there's no point going through and trying to work out how you made a mistake, because you didn't. When you do these things the wrong way round, you're actually going to cause more harm than good, because you're going to begin refining a strategy that doesn't need refining and maybe make it slightly negative or have a negative impact on it. Or you're going to go looking for a problem in your trading and you're going to begin second guessing yourself. I've had traders in the past who say, oh, I should just take the trade. I wasn't sure on this one. No, not necessarily. Maybe that doubt was because you can sense something wasn't quite right with the strategy. So don't just take it blindly. What will then happen is the next time you have that doubt, you're going to take a trade immediately, and that could have been the trade you could have actually learned from. So you need to make sure you're looking at the right thing. Now, if it is edge, this is often easier and it's a lot more fun because a lot of people like going to try to improve their strategy. Sometimes it just isn't your edge's day, and that's fine. Right? The big red day that I had, I probably took one trade which was a mistake, one which was questionable, but the other two trades, I think it was, completely fine. They were absolutely fine. It just wasn't the day that my edge was going to perform particularly well. Now, one thing you can do is this isn't really mixing the two, but let's say that you took trades and at the time you went, this kind of felt like it was off. This didn't feel right. Well, maybe it was. And this is the best place to start. So if you go back and you go, on this trade, something felt wrong, that might be an indicator that something can be adjusted in the setup. So go through, find the trades where it felt wrong. Compare them to your other trades. What did they look like? Was there something that stands out that you go, that didn't actually match up with the vast majority of my other trades? Could that be a new rule that I implement? When you begin to look at it like this, you can refine your rules. You can build on your edge, and potentially you will find something that in the future will improve your edge by a substantial amount. So if you can find similar trades to the one you've taken today that went, this didn't feel right, and you can look at them and go, these all were losses, find the thing that didn't feel right. You might just find that big major improvement to your edge. At the same time, don't force looking for something that isn't there. You can spend so many hours looking for a potential way to change your edge, to refine it, when the reality is you don't need to, and it just wasn't the day. So go through, if they're mistakes based off of, if the edge just didn't perform well, you just have to assess, was it because it wasn't a great day for my trading style today, or was it because you can potentially make an improvement for the future? Now, if it was you, this is the big one. This is the one where the vast majority of red days come from. It's when, frankly, you kind of fucked up. The first thing you want to do is go through and figure out which trades you made mistakes on. And try to find the first one, because the first one is often where the trigger happens, right? If you've taken one bad trade and then that triggered another one and another one, another one, find the first one that was a mistake. And sometimes the second one will lead on to that as well. But figure out what the mistake was. And I like to look at it first from a technical standpoint. Did you draw your trend line poorly? Did you get in too early? Did you chase due to FOMO? Did you what was it that was the technical mistake that if you could go back and say I could change one thing, ignore your own performance from it, but change one thing technically, what would it be? And then what you want to do is in that looking at that trade, try to remember and think what thoughts did you have. So for example, did you see everything ripping higher and thought, oh my God, I need to take a trade. This one hasn't gone yet, so I'm going to jump in because of FOMO? Had you taken a loss and were looking to make the money back and you're like, oh, I've got to find a setup. This one looks like it's going to work this time. I shouldn't have got out of that one. That one was a mistake. So you get in as a revenge trade. Or anything else. Like there's so many reasons you can end up taking a trade. Now, the critical thing is here, you need to not look at those thoughts as the mistakes. You need to look at those thoughts and ask yourself why they made sense at the time. Because they did, and you will feel stupid when you do this. It's normally, if you don't feel stupid, you haven't done it right. Those thoughts that you had before you took a trade, why did they make sense? Why in the moment did they make sense? Because that right there, when you can figure out what that is, for example, everything was ripping higher, so I wanted to go long. I jumped on this one. Why does that make sense? Well, we're in a bullish move higher. I don't want to miss out on the move. This could be the one move for the day. That right there is what you then need to focus on. Are those thoughts, those sort of like the thoughts underneath the thoughts, a bit of inception going on, are those underlying thoughts actually beneficial for your trading? And I would say nearly all of the time, the answer is no, they're not beneficial. And in fact, they're toxic. The answer to that is normally the underlying weakness. Okay? If you feel FOMO, you can't just say, I'm not going to feel FOMO anymore. It's what loads of people try to do and it doesn't work. You need to go, okay, I felt FOMO. What were the thoughts that were persuading me to feel FOMO? Those thoughts and why those thoughts made sense are what you need to work on. Now, that's a whole nother video for another time. And in fact, I do actually have a whole course on how to make improvements on those sort of thoughts, which I'll link to at the end of this. It's not easy, but it is something that you need to work through. Now, for the future, you need to make sure you have meaningful steps. And what I mean by that is work on the weaknesses and not the outcome. Do not turn around and say, oh, okay, I gave into FOMO today, so I'm not going to give into FOMO again. Or I chased this trade today, I'm not going to chase again. That doesn't help. You need to focus on the weakness. I felt FOMO today. This was a thought I felt early on. Today, I want to see if I can recognize that earlier. Today, I want to see if when I feel that, I cannot take a trade. Small daily goal. You do that every single day. Build on that. You make the improvement. It's really important that you understand why you lost the money because this allows you to process it. If you just sort of do a very quick review and you're still annoyed that you've lost $1,000, $5,000, $100, whatever it is, the money's still going to be there that will annoy you. If you can understand it, if you can go, you know what? Today, the edge didn't perform particularly well. I've looked back through it. I think I performed really well, which is good. I could maybe look at, I've looked at refining the strategy, and I think if I can gather a little bit more data over the next month or so, maybe I can adjust it slightly. You're going to be able to sleep a lot easier at night. Now, sometimes sizing down helps. Sometimes you don't need to. This is going to depend a lot on you, and I like to ask the question, do you not want to size down because you want to make the money back? Because realistically, the quickest way to make a big loss back is to trade bigger size and for that trade to go in your favor. That is not actually the way to improve at trading. So if that is your answer, if you're saying, oh, I don't want to size down because I want to make the money back quick, you probably want to size down. If you turn around and say, I don't want to size down because I know that my edge is still there. I performed really well today. It wasn't my edge's day. It wasn't my style's day, whatever you want to say. I'm comfortable taking the same size, then great, do that. So the key points just to take away from this is don't review when you're emotional. You're not going to be able to think straight. It's not going to be very beneficial. Having a growth mindset is key to success. This is a theme that you may see in a lot of my videos and certainly the courses I've created. See today, the day that you have a big red day, as an opportunity to grow for the future. It sucks, but you know what? It could be the day that you learn something about your strategy. I remember back a few months ago, after having a day where I took 6 or 7 losses and was like, this is ridiculous. What has gone on? I've traded them well. Was the day that I looked through and found a refinement to the strategy, which changed it from probably a very small edge to a very big edge. Today could be that day. A big losing day could be that day. Don't pass up on the chances to improve, not just on the edge, but your performance. Because if you can find the thing that made you screw up and you begin working on it, then in 3 months' time, that might not be an issue anymore. Was it your edge that caused the loss? Or was it you? And if it was you, work on you. If it was your edge, work on your edge. Do not get the two modeled up, because that's when you can actually have negative impact on your future performance. And finally, make sure you have a plan to make you better for the future. There's no point doing a review and then not setting goals, right? Review the day, go, okay, what do I need to do now to improve? What steps can I do tomorrow? What steps can I do the next day? That's the best way to make the improvements. Now, like I said, I do have a course specifically on improving performance. So if you've just watched this and you've heard me talk about finding the underlying thoughts and being like, I have no idea how to do that, I have no idea how to benefit from that, I have a course for you. It's on my website. It's the cheaper of my 2 courses. There is a lot of this stuff also in my main course, the Trading Blueprint. The big thing with this and with all the courses I create is they're designed to make you self-sufficient. They're designed so that you can go, you know what, I screwed up, fine. How can I make myself better without paying $300 and buying a new strategy to go and learn? Because that doesn't actually help. How can you yourself sit down, work through your mistakes, work through the performance issues that you have, and come out of it at the end and say, I know what I need to do to improve. I have a plan on how to improve. And then put that into place over the course of a few days and then a few weeks and a few months so you can actually make improvements. Standing by and just going, oh, I'm not going to take FOMO trades anymore. I'm not going to take reversal. I'm not going to take, I'm not going to take revenge trades anymore. Doesn't help. It doesn't work. So if you're somebody that has in the past gone, okay, from now on, I'm going to follow all my rules. No more B grade setups for me. And then a week later, you've taken a bunch of C grade setups and you've had your biggest ever losing day. This is probably the sort of thing you need so that you can stop with that mindset and go, what is actually causing me to make these mistakes and what can I do to improve on them? So make sure you check that out. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just adding a quick piece in here to let you know what extra services I have to help you become a better trader. On my site, guidedtradingmeditations.com, you can find my new course, The Trading Blueprint, which gives you a full guide on how to create an edge, test it, start trading it, and scale up. There are sections included on how to find the weaknesses in your trading, and then how to resolve them, as well as many other bits of information that I've gathered in my years of experience. The aim of the course is to make you a fully independent trader, so you don't need to pay ever-growing monthly fees to be in a chat room. There's no specific edge needed. You can use this in any market with any trading style. If you're at a stage in your trading where you're struggling and would prefer a more in-depth look at your own personal weaknesses and ongoing support, you can also book one-on-one coaching with me on the site. There's a cool breakdown on the screen right now, so pause the video and read through it, and if it's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a ton of other content on the site that I'm really proud of and I've really enjoyed making. So if you're interested, please check it out. I'm sure there'll be something on there that can help your trading. You can reach me on Twitter. My handle is in the description down below. You can send me a DM if you'd like any more information. And make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with future videos.